In the Yangshin shelter, standing next to the glass door, we look forward to the epidemic and everyone comes back. Bile is still working hard every day to prepare food, energy waiting for the movement to return. She said to Han Han, "They will be back very soon. Don't lie down and look." And he said, "I know." But he still looked to the distance and sighed. "Ta, when can we join CACA and they go fight zombies?" "Right." Suddenly he shouted, "They're back." I was also surprised to find out what really happened. Very quickly, Zhang Yi's group came to the door. Being away from the shelter for so long, everyone is eager to return. Yang Xin and others know that. His campaign and group, we just went through a dangerous battle. So when Zhang Yi and the group came in, the women and girls in the house rushed in. "CACA, you do not SAO. Han Han was very worried for you." Six, then there was a look of sorrow on his face. "You guys are out working. We can only wait in the house. We can't help it. I'm really sorry." Smile to the air. He stroked the heads of two little girls and told them, "It's not dangerous. We're all right, right? Everyone has their own ability. Everyone is in their place. You don't have to blame yourself too much." Honey is wearing an apron. Together with Zhu Hai America, prepare a rich party. Welcome everyone. Speak out loud. Eat rice. Everyone has something to say on the table. Everyone gathered at the big dining table. Have fun eating together. They talk about things. It happened at the snow camp. However, this sad feeling, quickly replaced by the sound of glass drying. At least they're happy to survive. Ask Yang Mi. During our time away from home, did anything happen in the hideout? She shook her head very quietly. Nothing happened. Trong Yi nodded with peace of mind. Ask about the situation of fighting zombies. Is everyone okay? Tang Translate replied, "Our squad is in no danger. But the other teams. A lot of squadrons survive less than 1%. When I heard about the 100,000 zombies surrounding the camp, people still feel scared. Now Tianhai City, I don't know how many people live. Omitted. Maybe we're the lucky ones who survived." Finally. Suddenly, there was sadness on his face. Even the survivors, not necessarily friendly to them. But think of a city where there's only a few people left. People feel lonely and sad. This time from Fat Toast. Don't feel that way. Our lives are the best result. Let's all drink to our victory. Ignore the worries of the future. As long as they survive now. Let's toast to the present life. Trong Yi did not forget to ask Yang whether in the past, are you going to continue to make food malfunctions? He's very comfortable with supplies. He would rather not run out of food. Dysfunction in space. They don't want to be lacking when needed. Smiling, we do it every day. You are on the front lines. We can't be idle in the back. I put it all in the fridge. Think for a moment and ask 10 questions. Is the effectiveness of the diathesis in the feed reduced? Face nods according to my observation. If food is not consumed after 7 days, the efficiency will decrease. After 10 days, it is completely gone. Everyone raised their glasses for joy. Congratulations to the company and his team. When victory comes back, party, have fun. Half a day passed very quickly. After the meal, everyone's stomach was full, and some people were drunk. Like fat in a war. He was so scared he almost peed his pants. So when I came back, he was enjoying it alone. Solve 2 bottles of red wine premium. He had to go to the bathroom to vomit for half a day. Then we went back to the break room. Drinks a little too. But his tolerance to alcohol is good. So he's not drunk. She looked at the fat drunk alive and exclaimed, "This is typical of crazy enjoyment. After being scared, even if you lose a little life later." After the party is over, the campaign called Yang Xin Han to come. Come with me to the control room. Yang Han nodded, with Zhang Yi to the control room. To open the door, thick needle assembly of control room, and turn on the light. Bright light illuminating. Large control room, filled with the style of the future. As if on a war ship. Even the ceiling and the floor are OLED screens. Throughout. He pushed Yang Han into the door and closed the door again. There are things he doesn't want to hide from others. But he wants to see for himself first. Then decide, should I share it with everyone or not? Even if there are some problems. Not as many people as possible. The opposite can cause confusion, because everyone's following their own point of view. So Zhang Yi, I'd rather discuss the matter with Yang. Because she is very smart, and like Zhang Yi. He's also a very rational person. Move to the control panel. Open it out, and look at the materials that Zhao Hong sent. He quickly got 10 documents about great leaders and their assistants. Of course, does not include documents of the Yangtze base. Of these documents, the real translation, I only care about 2 people's information. Not to be confused and nervous. There are others. They're just smokescreens. In order to conceal the true purpose of Zhang Yi from Red Pepper. Yang Han sat next to the epidemic, curiously watching him open each section of the document. CACA, what are you doing? Can you tell me? The movement does not hide its thoughts. With Yang Han, he said to Han, "Come here, show me a document." Slowly push the wheelchair to the hospital. He took a deep breath and recount what I saw at the snow camp. Detailed description of everything for Yang Xin Han. At the same time, he expressed his doubts. Although there is currently no concrete evidence, but we feel that the police may be involved in the recent violence in Tianhai City. If behind this, it's really a big conspiracy. It's definitely a threat to us. So we want to investigate this very thoroughly. Otherwise, we will not be able to rest assured. In the eyes of the bones of Han appeared astonishment. Even though you're not a conspiracy theorist. But if what Zhang Yi says is true, the person behind it controls everything. He's definitely a high-level conspirator. The Lord is not in a hurry either. Express my point of view. Even though Sao is Trong Yi said, everything now is just speculation. He pointed to the screen and said, "Look at this progress. Come closer, and together with Zhang Yi, to review the documents of the danger and Zhang Yi first. Trong Fluid opens the document of the danger of not stomach first. I've actually collected 10 full pieces of information. Inside, a thorough record of a life that's not dawning, including the family context and her adult experiences. The basic summary is as follows. You're not 20 years old. They have Chinese and Japanese blood. Born in Nara District, Japan. Her father is Yuan and her mother is Kimiko. They're both loyal followers of a cult. It's called theology in Japan. After reviewing your documents, Shuang Yi and Yang Han Han has fallen into a silence. I was worried and surprised. This is Trong translated. I'm skeptical of the preacher. If you do not have a disability, you will return to death. Eat babies' ice amber snow flute from which to wake up the power. After death, their abilities will return to you. Not fake. That zombies riot. Maybe it's not. Want to use a trick to steal power. It's like there's no evidence in front of you. It's just my guess. That's why we want to investigate this. Otherwise, we will eat and sleep restlessly. Yang Han Han nodded. Got it. Let's keep looking. When you're not 3 years old, she and her parents moved to Tianhai City, China, living at 256 Kim Mausoleum Street Lam campus. That same year, he and Kimiko established the theological branch in Tianhai City. Theology, it's considered a cult in China. It works mostly in the dark. Nguyen Tu Van holds the position of theologian, while Kimiko holds the title of. To attract followers, they lied that their daughter didn't. Possessing mystical powers, and determined that she would become the saint of the cult. Thanks to the fascination of religion, the family depends, quickly become rich. Didn't he live a life away from home? From small to large. In theology, she is considered a princess. However, this life is not. It ended when she was 16. Before her parents came to Japan to attend a theological conference, they had a plane crash and died on the spot. After the death of Yuan and Kimiko, the followers of the theologian gradually receded. Turns out, they've been deceived. As a child, they have no ability to control the situation. More, it's been revealed that you don't have the power. That put you in a difficult position. Theology is based on the view that the believer can receive the blessing of the gods through the donation of property, and after his death, they can enter the kingdom. People advise to give as much property as possible. It's possible to live a lifetime after rebirth in a better country. For this reason, many theologians did not regret to give all his property to the gods. After the death of the couple, whatever. Angry believers who wanted to reclaim their property. However, most of the property is owned by the family. Tu Van spent it all. So the angry believers took it out. The people of the original are not, only 16 years old. Tianhai City Police, we received a report on this in 2046. This case is of a very serious nature. According to the document, the number of people involved in the case increased to 136. When taken to the hospital, the danger of not being tortured to the point of no longer realizing, her body suffered many very deep wounds. However, it is related to the evil organization. There's too many people involved in the case. How to handle the case, then, is quite shady. Since then, you have not been foolish. It's like disappearing from the everyday world. When you reappear, it's after the end of the world. When you suddenly change and become the Pope of the sermon. Based on fascinating skills learned from theology, you gradually expand your influence. Turn the sermon. It's one of the largest organizations in the city. Tianhai. After a long time, open your mouth is a poor man. But it's weird. When someone like that, can you be a savior in the end? He turned to the ocean. Can you believe it? Yang Han Han shook his head and looked sad. Going through this kind of thing. Keep your mind in a normal state. It wasn't easy either. If it is, I will only think about destroying the world. Or turn it into the shape we want it to be. Before hugging the arm, take a deep breath. Now there's something we're beginning to understand. We and everyone else think that. In the crisis, this zombie flute lecture is the biggest victim. We lost nearly 10,000 followers. Zhangji's words suddenly changed. But now I think it's not. Maybe you don't. They don't care about the lives of the dead. Maybe she's deliberately using their deaths to cover up for his conspiracy. Yang Han Han looked up at Trong Dui Ca. Do you have any evidence to prove this? A small smile appeared on the corners of the mouth. Not before. But now there is. When you hear this, you are surprised. The translation is not in a hurry. He is slow again. Share the suspicious points he noticed. At first, we knew. You don't have any special abilities. It's not a malfunction with many applications. It's a variety of abilities, completely unrelated to each other. As a blessing, grace, and other types of superhuman abilities. In addition to that, there's the ice and snow capacity. This makes us feel familiar. Open your arms. Calmly say, this is definitely not normal. If those skills are really hers, there's no reason to keep secrets from us for such a long time. However, she never showed them in front of anyone. This suggests that these abilities are secret. Can't reveal. So we conclude that those abilities she stole from someone else. And they're coming from pieces of ice on her body. The doctor began to analyze. This is definitely not normal. Battle with zombies. You don't show your abilities. As a blessing, grace, and other types of superhuman abilities. This makes us feel familiar. But when she uses the snow and ice system's power, I feel a little strange. If what she's capable of is really hers, there's no reason to keep secrets from us for such a long time. She never showed them in front of anyone. This suggests that these abilities are secret. Can't reveal. So we conclude that those abilities she stole from someone else. And their source is the dead coming back. You should be serious if you follow this theory. Is not. AI can determine the true power of raw materials. Not in the present, both. Every mutant with an ability has its own weakness. But a person with so many abilities, she has almost no weaknesses. The epidemic continues, so she just wanted a war in Tianhai City. Non-stop. Because the people who get the amber tape, as long as they are alive, it's of no value to her. Only when they die, their abilities, it can be non-fake. The movement of deep thought. His eyes became sharper. Maybe the purge isn't just about the enemy, but also to her own subordinates. Even though SAO sermons have a lot of mutants, and their death to the undead. It's a lucky thing. Yang couldn't help but nod his head. The analysis of the translation chapter sounds plausible. However, it seems there is still a lack of direct evidence to confirm these points. But it's hard to convince other forces, especially the investigation team. We can't just rely on these speculations to directly confront the non-fake original. Sharp eye movements. His gaze became cold and deep. Like this time, we can't pretend. I don't know. With the support of zombies. She's made a fighting force of 4. We lost 7, more than half. In addition, she sent us an amber. That's a sign she's about to act against us. Now the only thing that scares them. It's the Jiangnan area. I'm afraid that as soon as the troops and their groups leave, the sermon will begin to act. Talk about here. Zhang Yi took out a white cloth from her pants pocket. There's also this. We can prove that our suspicions are valid. Yang Han is curious. Take the white cloth and look at it. It's full of letters. This is the translation that says this is why the sword was sent to me. This kid slipped it into my hand before he left. He remembered his desperate face. It's like Li Sword's dry wooden plank. He couldn't help but sigh. His child was dead. If not for this, with his personality, he won't risk telling me these things. Yang Han attentively review the content on the white cloth. It's a letter. It's not written in ink, it's written in blood. The contents of the letter are summarized as follows. 28 days ago, I'm with 3 people in my family and my neighbors, attracted to the ordinance that leads us to secularism. You don't know about my abilities, and led us to an abandoned skyscraper. Near the church, there we see a giant plant. They call it party blood. You didn't threaten to tell me. It is our responsibility to use our power, to nourish it. It's my ability can promote the growth of plants. And after being taken care of by me, their life force becomes stronger. At first I thought, this is just the food of the snow. So every day I used my blood to nourish it. But gradually, we realized that something's wrong. It's not that the whole thing is wrong. First, after using the blood, people will get scared and excited. It's like the effect of a hallucinogen. Every time this fruit is distributed, it's in the cathedral, while everyone is listening. The teachings of the unconscious and eat the fruit of the party's blood. I suspect this is a hypnotic method to make her followers loyal to her. Many formerly pagan organizations used the same method with the pharmaceutical to cause hallucinations. I was alert and then discussed it with my wife and children. I decided not to eat this food. Fortunately, as a priest, we can still get other kinds of supplies. So there's no problem with the food. Even though Zheng Yat first realized my problem. But because they need us, so they never asked. It's just an indirect suggestion. Second self. The blood is not a plant. It can produce food. At the sermon, they threw the body into the abandoned building, where the blood will surround the body, form a kind of cocoon, and absorb the nutrients inside. However, we've discovered that some cocoons are very special. They're larger than normal cocoons. It's not only drying up, it's constantly expanding. Feels as if the energy of the other wings are absorbed to nourish them. I suspect that, inside, they're feeding on a strange creature. But when we came back later, we don't see those things anymore. I doubt whether the bodies are fed. Is it the source of the zombie virus? Although this suspicion has no evidence, it's just my guess. But if we can study the blood carefully, we can know the truth. The third one is not fake, it's really crazy. When a teenager joins the cult, They're going to have her perform a purification ritual. It's actually removing their genitals. I don't understand the true meaning of this ritual. Since we got here, I'm always worried my son will have to go through this. Even though we are careful, but in the end, there's no escaping bad luck. She's a really scary nut. Wednesday, I accidentally witnessed. You didn't pretend to kill a priest. The priest and I have a good relationship. She's always careful. I never did anything to make you angry. But on that day, I see she's in danger of strangling herself to death. I'm not sure. Is this information useful to you? Or not? My son is dead, and I feel so bad. My father can't help him get revenge. But if one day there's the right opportunity, I hope these documents will help you. After reading the information from the sword, Yang Han Han slowly raised his head to look at Shang Yi. I know why he is sure. Risk is no problem. If that's the case, then we can also understand that she did these things. Tay said, Li Sword, we have a much closer relationship with nature than we do, and also approach closer to the center of the church. He can feel it. These things are very useful for us. We feel like we're combining all of this information. We can almost conclude that the danger of not knowing and preaching itself, they all have serious problems. In case it's what I said. The so-called Amber is just part of a larger conspiracy, and generous gifts, just to create favorable conditions for retaliation. So she has a reason. To make the Tianhai city into chaos, creating many bodies. Because more and more people die. The faster you can recover your power. It's even possible. The zombie crisis this time, also related to her. Take a deep breath. Most of the members of the Snow Flute cult were also seduced by her. Be willing to sacrifice yourself for her. Trong translated further. We must quickly think of a solution. Just deal with her. If not, the people of Jiangnam arrived in time. Don't allow her to act too blatantly. Right now, we may have fallen into a dangerous situation. If you don't really have that awesome power, no one in Tianhai City, you can confront her. Including Trong Yi. So let's let everyone in the city of Tianhai. I know her plot. New 1. Xin analysis. We want to achieve the Jiangnan Great Zone support. Tianhai City, he suffered 7 major injuries in the last battle. Whether the alliance, I'm not sure if my opponent is not. Nod your head. It is very true as for the South China Sea. Even if you don't measure up to everyone, they don't care either. The only way to survive is to remain stable. Not presiding over justice. They have no reason to leave. Say not, you can even invite people not to work for them. In my mind flashed a thought. That's right. The fastest way to the south is to really support the danger. What do we do now? Should we accept the proposal of the armed forces? Bring the people next to Jiangnam Great Zone. Abandon current shelter SAO. We're not in a very self-contained shelter. Jiangnam area needs to use labor to change the right of residence. If you look at the military, you can see. Even though I know the use of power will consume your life, he's still busy every day. Expand translation. They don't want to use their abilities and affect their lives, like a border army. They don't want to be threatened with death. Yang Xinhan looked at Zhang Yi. A small smile appeared on her lips. CACA campaign. If you want to drag Jiang Nam into the water, maybe it's not impossible. Lift her up in front of her eyes. Yang Xin Han still seemed calm and scary, not confused by the current situation. Hi, do you have any ideas? Duong Han Han replied, Thong Dong, the world is throbbing. It's all for the benefit. People are also moving towards the good. Just capture their core interests. We ourselves, it can make them act on their own. What is the most worrying thing about Jiang Nam? Zhang Yi immediately replied, sure is. Any AI that shakes their dominance. Even the investigation team, they came here because of concern. Zombie epidemic extended to other areas of Jiangnan Great Region. It causes greater chaos. Yang Xin smiled with a wink. If so, we just need to let them know. Zombies do not fake, raw is enough. In the next translation, I've actually thought about that. If we had the evidence, we'd have shown it sooner. But the problem is, we don't. The tree and the blood I stole. Zhu Kai Ni checked through. No VI zombie withdrawal. Yang Han Han, with eyes as bright as amber. He looked at Zhang Yi and smiled mysteriously. CACA campaign. Sometimes we don't need evidence. You can also do some things. You just need to make the people of Jiangnan province suspicious about this possibility. They can't sit still and not care. A little doubt is enough. Let them use their power. The investigation is not fake. If she resists, that means she's got a problem. If she doesn't protest and leaves them free to investigate, I'm sure there will be traces to reveal. I know you mean to spread a rumor. Exaggerate the level of danger of the raw non-stomach so that Jiangnan can't ignore her. That's right. That's the idea. Yang Han Han continued. If Jiang Nam is really the manager, they're not going to allow such a large destabilizing factor. They exist in their area. Moreover, we have determined that Idanti have many different abilities at the same time. If you say this to the Vu border, I guess, can Jiang Nan the Great Zone care about her? Yang's words were like thunder. Clear up thoughts in the beginning of the chapter. That's a good idea. Just need to attract the attention of the Jiangnan Great Region. No fake beer, no control from behind. Just bring her out into the light. And attracted the attention of the Jiangnan Great Region. She doesn't dare to act arbitrarily. Even Jiang Nan can take her away. So the city of Tianhai will not be safe, SAO. Zhang Fei thinks this is a good idea. He raised his head thinking, this idea is really good. He should look carefully. At least as a backup. You can't decide in a hurry. It's extremely dangerous. Seeing Zhang Yi think like that, Yang Han Han said, Trong and CACA, we also have an untapped source of information. Before the translation, suddenly remembered I haven't seen Zhang Yat first documents. He frowns in this kind of situation. Does his existence still matter? Zhang Yat, first despite the strength of NDTO, but after many big fights. The campaign claims that his strength is only equal to his training. Nu Yen Din Hai and the sky. For Trong Dui, Zheng Jingxian is unlikely to pose any major threat. Thought movement. I didn't always hide behind. Not directly handle cult work. Everything is assigned to Zheng Yat first. Now look back. Trin Dat Tian is just a puppet of her. Yang Han Han skillful and exquisite, gently tapping hands on the wheelchair seat. She turned over Zhang Yat-sen's document and said, "But now, we still have some things. It's not very clear. Is this all a conspiracy? The danger of being alone is not bright, or everyone in the cult knows. It's two completely different concepts. If it is the following case, we're faced with a massive cult, danger and mutants. But if everyone else is in the dark, you're not fooled. We have a chance to provoke her subordinates. Put your hands in your pocket." I remember my time in the snow. More than 10 days. In that battle, sermons cost 7 more than half 10 no more 1. Even mutants die a lot. If they know the truth, they have to be smart. Even life is a bet. So we feel incapable. Too many people know this. Maybe there's just no risk and a few others. Duong Han Han suggested with the translation chapter. Let's take a look at Zhang Yat-sen's paper. Maybe we'll find the answer in there. Screen access program. Started checking Zhang Yat-sen's personal documents. Zhang Yat's first life did not have too many events. He was born into a middle-class family in Tianhai City. Pretty fake. His parents are not religious. As if the family's neighbor wasn't fake. Therefore, Chernting First and Danger is not known since childhood. He is 5 years older than the Danger. I always see you as a sister. After you didn't go through the terrible event, your life has become a mystery. But in the record related to Zhang Yat first, he also left the city of Tianhai with, at that time, the document shows, they suspect that they have lived together. The risk of not being seriously hurt was taken to a well-known nursing home for treatment. And Zhang Ji is always with you. After seeing the notes related to the first Trin, Trong Yi thought, it seems like the elf knows it all. The original plan is not fake. You can even say, this project is the result of their collaboration. There are others in the snow. Most are still confused. I went to school in the hope of getting a skill. But in the end, most of them lost their lives in the dark. Those who are still alive may be difficult to escape. Especially the mutants. They're just a source of nutrition. They're not nourishing. Give me. The more analyzed his mind became sharper. I used to say, there's no free meal that fell from the sky. It's not strange, snow spears are calling out to them. Even though they're clearly short of supplies. Because these people, it is also your source of food. Not fake. It's the only way to attract a lot of lab material. From the Great Ordinance to select those who are endowed. Give them ice cream to wake up their powers. Eventually, enough tricks were used to make them die. That way, their power will be in the air. The translation wonder, how much of her ability has she absorbed? After a moment of reflection in Zhang Yi's eyes, there was a clear determination. No, we have to think carefully. How to do it in the end, to avoid being paid by the snows.